Okay, we'll bring this meeting to order. It's July the 9th. And this will be a work session. Jandy, if you would call off the, call the roll, please.
Ron Jones,
Here.
Tom Johnson,
Present.
Debbie Darlis,
Here.
Tom Sargent,
Here.
Pat Blair,
Here.
Beth Halen,
Here.
and Colette Withake.
Yeah, I'm here. My last name is Woloznik. It
Okay.
probably took with the K from my email. It's kind of a play on my first name, but
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. I'm sorry, Colette.
okay.
For any of you folks who haven't met the newest member of the commission, that's Colette.
It is Colette.
Welcome aboard.
Yep.
Thank
Welcome,
you.
Colette.
Thanks.
Okay.
Also present, Mike Ladd. Mike Ladd.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. Nick Koya is also joining us, Brimfield Township trustee. Myself, Jendi Miller. Also present is Todd Peets, Portage County Regional Planning Director, as well as Gail Gifford, also from Portage County Regional Planning.
Okay.
Okay, could I have a motion to accept the agenda?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Who is Galaxy Note 10 Plus?
Oh, that is our attorney, Mark Adetti. He sat in on our first Zoom meeting for the BZA, and he's sitting in on the first Zoom meeting for zoning commission.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you all.
It's smooth for us. Yep.
What was the name again?
Mark Adetti.
Thank you.
Okay, a motion for the agenda, please.
I make a motion.
I'll make a
to accept the agenda. It's
Okay,
passed.
and I'll second it, Debbie.
All those in favor, yell out.
Aye.
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 Opposed? Agenda's accepted. Okay, we'll start right off here. This is a workshop meeting on the township comprehensive land use. So I have got some of the stuff that Jendi wrote down, but I'm going to kind of let Mike step in here and kind of familiarize all of us with what this is.
Yeah, so this is what the zoning commission approved and we sent to the trustees. I know it's been a while since we had a meeting, but we did go ahead with your recommendation to go ahead with the comprehensive land use for Brimfield. Todd was in previously to the zoning commission to discuss this, and he is online now to give you an update on what he has accomplished so far.
All right, well, okay, so basically, this is the kickoff meeting. We met back in January, maybe February, and talked about doing a comp plan or doing the comp plan update to what was pre-existing. And we talked about, doing a very thorough look. I know the trustees would like the 5-year, plan to be the primary part of this, but it really is a plan that can extend out 20 years. And then the first 5 years is the low hanging fruit, try to get things accomplished, reevaluate at the end of 5 years and see what the next 5 years is going to look like. So where we've been is we've been working on collecting all the existing conditions, updating the maps for you. We have, we mentioned that we have this interactive mapping tool that we're going to be using this time around called Story Maps. The existing conditions will probably be more static and traditional, but when we get to the goals, objectives, and policies and some of the proposed future plans, we want to make those a little bit more interactive, especially for the public to use, so they can click on what's coming in the next 5 years or the next 10 or 20 years. So I think that will be a great way for people to actually use the comp plan, be able to digest the information quickly and rapidly, And we're super excited about doing this because this will be our first plan. It'll be one of the first plans that I'm even aware of that use this kind of mapping as part of their plan. So I think that's going to be a real positive thing. So there's a couple things I wanted to just go over with you on the kickoff is the timeline of where we're going to be doing things. We're kind of, we met with the trustees. They kind of wanted to have everything done by the end of the year, and I'm hopeful that we still have everything done by the end of the year. It might slide, because of the holidays and everything, it might slide into January, and I put February at the bottom of this, as just a worst case scenario, hopefully, knock on wood. So this week we're this month, I should say, in July, I have, just basically saying, yep, we're kicking this off. And we have a survey discussion. Did you guys all get a copy of the survey? I sent it, early this afternoon.
Yes, we did. Yep, Johnny emailed it.
Okay, good.
I got a copy.
And we're going to talk about that here in a second after I go through the things. So we'll get into that survey in more detail. But so we're doing the survey discussion tonight, kickoff tonight. But next month we're going to have the existing conditions pretty much done, in a final, I would say a final draft form for you guys to review for your August meeting. We'll get those out hopefully a week, maybe 2 weeks early, so you have time to review them and look what we have for you. Then in September, we hope to have our survey results in by then, and then also start doing the initial goal setting for the October meeting. We'd like to firm that goal setting up, and then in November have our final comments done of the plan, and then send those on to the trustees so they can start looking at it in November. And however they want to schedule their meetings to get this done, whether that's in probably through November, December, and possibly January, February, depends on, again, how much they want to put into it. So that's the schedule I have. Again, it's kind of aggressive, but we're trying to keep it, the plan, concise and to what meets the needs of the community. I mean, it's your community, so we want to make sure it meets your needs, and you guys are happy with it. Does anybody have any questions about the timeline?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. So on the survey is, it's okay. So the survey is from 2003, I believe. And what we decided to do was replicate that survey. And I think we want to talk about it a little bit maybe. And the reason why we want to replicate it is we had survey results from them, and you do an apples to apples comparison, how has perceptions changed and things like that. But I'm not sure, can I do a share screen on here? I think that would be great if I could. Hold on. Can I? If I can do a share.
You should have an option at the bottom.
Woo! All right. So now do I get the share screen? Host disabled I can't share. The host has to let me. Can the host let me in?
Brian, if you can hear, can you open that up?
Because what I can do is I can put what's on SurveyMonkey. I can put it right on your screen, and we can talk about this all together, looking at the same time.
Yeah, I think Brian left the room for a few minutes.
I'm here. I heard my name.
There he is.
Multiple participants.
We want to give
can share
Todd access to share.
Yep, I just handed it out. Multiple participants can share simultaneously, so he should be able to put stuff up.
Okay, there it is. Okay, I'm good. All right. All right. Did it come up for you guys?
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so basically these are the questions, all of these questions. The only ones I made up were at the very end, and we can talk about those. But I'd like to go over these quickly, not to spend too much time. So usually I want to keep the survey under 20 questions, and I've got 44 questions. Actually, I got a few more because I asked some open-ended questions at the end. But so I was wondering if we needed all of these questions. I think some of them we should keep, like how, this first question is basically, do you live or work in Brimfield? Which I think is an important question that was also in the original survey. All these questions were in the original survey as written. So, I didn't rewrite these. So the very bottom one on this first one, hopefully you can see my cursor, it says, I do not live or work in Brimfield, and then it says stop survey. So hopefully if you're not a resident or work in Brimfield, you just don't even need to take the survey anymore. Then we have the next question, which I have as a question mark. what best describes your property size? And this is the acreage that was in the survey, less than an acre to 10 acres, 10 to 50 acres, or more than 50. I'm not sure how important that is. Just the fact that, I think what's important is probably this. So you guys can tell me if you want to take that one out, number 2. Number 3 is your education level. What describes your education? I don't think we really, it's nice to know who's taking the surveys and, how educated they are, but I don't know if that really benefits the survey, we have a section in the existing conditions about, how the cost of living, the amount of income, the average income is. We even have education attainment in the existing conditions, but I don't think we need to ask them how smart or how much education you've attained in the survey.
I agree with that, Todd. I think we could strike that one out. That's going to come out with the census anyway, isn't it?
Right. It is, but it's almost like asking, you could flip that and say, how much money do you make? And it was taken.
Yeah, I agree on striking. I think we could strike out the how much land do you?
I
don't see
strike that one too. I don't know if that really has value to it.
Yeah, there aren't many people that have over 50 acres.
Okay,
Not
so
a lot that have 10 and 50 acres either anymore.
right. So those 2 questions I think are good to strike out. But then the next ones I think are important, like how old you are. I think that's important. This next question I think is okay. Should we protect the agriculture industry? I think when this was done in 2003, my predecessor was all about farmland preservation. There was, at that time in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, there was a considerable amount of subdivisions going on, especially in Rootstown and in Brimfield. So I think there was some concern about there might be a rapid change to the township, which there was. Then number 6, I think is okay. Do you, the character Brimfield is, whoops, I got a typo in here. Should be, fix that. Brimfield Township should be changed to an urbanized, developed community, and you can, again, strongly, that'd be interesting to see how that compares to what was said back in 2000, 2003.
Todd?
Yeah.
Todd, this is Pat Blair.
Yep.
The survey that you're showing us in Survey Monkey, I realize is an adaptation, but like my question 5 is completely different from your question 5. Like my question 5 is, which best describes your status? My question 6 is, what that describes your principal place of work? So I'm not looking at the same thing you're looking at.
That's interesting. How did that happen? You sent, okay. So
was it part of the old
Yeah, that's
2000?
Yeah, is that what? Yeah, that's the old land use survey that was filled out.
Yeah, and what 2003 or something?
Right, that's what he said that we were working on. Is that, or are we working on the new one called a draft?
Well, I'm calling this a draft because, obviously I want your input before we call it for real. But I using information from what I received saying that these were the survey questions and here were the results kind of thing. That's what I made this from, or that's what I used to make this. So this is what I had to use to make your survey questions.
I don't know, maybe Jendi or Mike can address the difference.
Mike, do you want to, or?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm not seeing the difference here on mine, so.
Well, okay. So there's like 2 different things. There's the land use survey preliminary results as of August 15th, 2002. That's all I found, which goes to these questions in order that Todd is looking at. Here's another one that I also sent out, Pat, that you have, and Todd, I thought this was the one I sent to you as well. But the questions are a little different, but the one that I have, I'm seeing pretty much what.
I've got the same thing as what you have, Todd, so I'm not understanding what.
I don't know either.
the first set of questions came off of what I received a while back. I was missing a couple questions, and I asked Jenny to send me over some the replacements to that, which I got from her, and I made those, I added those into the survey in order as they came in.
Mhm.
I think what we should do is probably, because I do have those and I do have numbers, the results that go with it. I think maybe we should continue with what I sent to you guys. Just because, and I apologize, Pat, that you have something different, but
Well,
if
I
you can
like
see
a
my
challenge.
screen,
I like a challenge, but I like to be on the same page too. So yeah,
Right.
somebody can send the update of what you're speaking to.
It was sent out, Jendi sent it out, and it was a link in an email.
Yeah.
Surveymonkey.com.
So-
Yeah.
Pat, can you see my screen, or are you on a cell phone?
I have both right now.
Because if you're on a regular computer screen, you should be able to see what I'm showing you right here.
No,
And we
that's on a cell phone. My Zoom is it's a tablet.
That's, yeah, so that's probably why he's not.
I can see it. I can read what you're showing me.
Okay. Okay. Well, should we just continue to move on then?
Yeah, go
We're
ahead.
all on board. Is everybody picking this particular draft up? Todd's latest.
I have the same thing Todd has,
Okay,
what Jendi sent.
then,
Right, me too.
okay, then let's
The rest-
continue then.
Well, the good news is on this is, like, local recreation needs and facilities meet my needs. That's probably a good question. So I left that as number 7. Number 8, I said it was okay, but maybe a little questionable. I have enough knowledge to make informed decisions on township zoning issues, which I think is a good question to ask. So that's why I think it's an okay question. But then the next one right below it is similar, a little different. Is citizens in Brimfield are well informed to make prudent land use decisions. It's very similar. And I think this goes back to how good of a job commission's getting out to the public stuff. But I'm just not, I'm not sure we need both questions or we just to go with one question. But I have both in as okay. Number 10 was, I said that was okay. It's important for the planning to coordinate with other communities. But then for 11 was almost the same question, just a little differently. So I was kind of thinking that was almost a duplicate, and maybe we should get rid of number 11.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
There's no sense in duplicating stuff.
Yeah, and then 12 was farmers want to continue to farm in Brimfield. I had a question mark there. Is farming in Brimfield an important issue to this board, or should we leave it in? We can leave it in there.
Yeah, I think we still have 2 or 3 decent
Farms
sized
still, yeah.
farms. So yeah, I think we probably
Okay.
should go ahead and leave it.
So then in 13, agriculture production in Brimfield is an important industry. I said that should be stay. 14, historic and archaeological resources should be protected. I thought
Yes.
that should stay. 15, I had a question mark, but okay as well. Future industrial, commercial, high density residential should be restricted to areas served by sanitary sewer. And I'm kind of thinking, the reason I put in a question mark to that is that only makes logical sense that they should be on sanitary sewer. And, I'm not sure why you want to put high density or anything like that on.
Yeah.
So that's why I had a question mark there.
Yeah, I take that off. It doesn't make sense.
Okay. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then on 16, a commercial development should be restricted to existing commercial areas. So I had a question mark, okay, there too. I mean, it's okay. That makes sense to have commercial in commercial areas. I guess maybe, do we need to expand commercial outside the area? So I had a question mark and I said, if you want to leave it in there, we can leave it in there just to see what people say.
Yeah,
My concern is 44 questions, we might lose people, that's all.
Yeah,
well,
I would.
Todd, I think the other piece too that we haven't talked about is that this survey is also going to have some additional questions from the 5-year strategic plan from the various divisions of police, fire, parks, roads. So while we're at 44, cutting down some is important because we're going to expand on some additional as part of what we're doing as the board here with this survey.
Okay, well, with that feedback, I think we should cut that one down because those are things that are very important as part of the survey. 17.
17, I think we have enough of all that, so I think you could strike that.
You think so? Okay. And you have a lot more since 2003 for sure, right?
Yeah.
What about 18? More professional offices, banks, doctors, engineers, realtors.
I think that's a good question.
Okay. 19 is there enough personal establishments, dry cleanings, hair salons, tailors? It's hard to find a tailor these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave that on.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so then 20, I had a question mark, and same with 21. I thought it was okay, but so all of Brimfield should be serviced by sanitary sewer. Do we want to ask that? Do we need to ask that question, or?
All of Brimfield Township?
It says all, and then same with
Yeah,
20,
all.
21 is all of it should be under central water systems.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Okay, so we'll leave those two in. 21 or 22, I had recommended to cross that out because I think it was the same kind of thing. Central sanitary sewer should be only constructed to serve existing and proposed density residential developments. I think that one's again a no-brainer. So if you're going to have it, you have to have sewer. 23. This was an interesting one. This was in the survey from 2002. Was I would be willing to pay higher taxes for these things, and you can click on all those boxes if you want to pay higher taxes for all those things. But you can click on just a handful of them too. So it might be an interesting exercise to see what people are willing to pay for. So I recommend it. 24 is residential development should be encouraged in Brimfield. And these were all kind of separated. So we should have encourage single family development. Yes or no? Or strongly agree or strongly disagree or something in between. And then we have the same thing for townhomes. We have the same kind of question for duplexes and triplexes. We have the same kind of question for development for the elderly, residential development for elderly. We have that for multifamily apartments, and then residential homes that cluster to preserve open space, which I think everybody would probably agree with all those things. But we could leave all those, or we could strike a couple if you want.
Mike, what's your feeling on the one further back on the duplex and triplexes?
I think you can combine. I think you could combine this question
Right.
into one.
Make it multiple choice.
Multiple choice. What would you prefer to see?
Okay.
One.
Right.
All right. So that all started right here on 24. All right. So I'll combine them to multiple choice to pick a preference. Okay. Okay. And then we got past the residential uses. Then we came to light industrial, and then we had heavy industrial. So I don't know if that's still a question or concern right now. I mean, I'm sure light industrials.
Well, we do have a heavy industrial district. So
Yep. So
yeah,
I guess the question would be: should heavy industrial be expanded? Because you only have one
Yeah,
area.
because we already,
we would have to think of where we would want that to be.
Well,
Right.
Right, but we're isolated into one area, and most of the people that are in that area weren't happy about that. So I think there might be some areas where there's there's no residents around it at all, and I think you could change some of the LI to HI. Maybe eliminate that section down there because it doesn't make much sense as you go down there. It's all residential homes, other than the county, a couple places.
Okay. So should it be expanded in number 31? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then this one didn't, I don't think this one's functioning quite right. I need to do something better with this, but I say, what are the 3 things you like best about living in Brimfield? And I listed these things that were in the original survey, but for some reason I can click on more than 3 right now.
Yeah.
So that doesn't work too well. But I could rank them. I could do a rank here rather than list the things best.
Yeah, I'd like
Yeah.
to see a ranking because they're all important.
Right. Okay. And the trustees or the 5-year plan, we might want to see other things added to this list, as a part of a ranking system.
Right.
Okay. And then 33 was all land fronting on state routes should be zoned for commercial. And I think that would be an interesting site.
Very.
I would agree with it.
I'd agree with it, but if you're never going to get water on 43, then I'd say I disagree.
Yeah. So do you want me to leave this one on there, or take it off?
I'd say take it out.
I'd say take it out because it all depends on if you get water or not.
True.
Yeah. So I'd say take it out.
So this one, 34 is a good question. I think, the intersection of Talmadge and 43, should it resemble a village? And that, I think there's been plans in the past about that. So I think that's a good one to leave. 35, I had marked to strike it out. In order to maintain the character of the township, a minimum lot size for a home site minimum lot size for a home site not located in a subdivision should be less than 1.5 acres, 1.5 acres, 5 acres, 10 acres. It was just a weird question. If you're not in a subdivision, how big your lot should be. It should not be less than.
I believe under the current plan, is it not an acre and a half or acre and a quarter?
So that's why
I'm
wondering if
to be able to make the county requirement for septic.
So I'm wondering if this should even be a question. I think this might be a question to strike.
Yeah, you could.
I agree. I agree.
Okay. So 36 is building houses along the road frontage should be restricted. And I have strike that one out because that horse is out of the barn.
Well, yeah, and it defeats the purpose of town center because they could be fronting right on the town center. Some of them,
Right.
So that's okay to strike that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I have a strike on 37 too. So overnight parking of commercial vehicles that are more than 2 axles, which are not pickup trucks and company cars, should be restricted.
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, this was something that was probably popular back in 2000.
I don't even know, whether we should even have that in there. We should just have that in our zoning to prevent that.
And I think 39 or what Nick was talking about, like you're gonna have special questions for the police and fire and parks and all that. So 38, they did ask a question whether the township should continue to maintain its own police force. And so I said it's okay, but I also put a question mark there. Maybe this gets revised by the other group.
Yeah, I would say revise it with everything going on right now. I don't know if I'd want to ask that question.
Yeah.
Well, they've been there for 20 some years, and they're so ingrained in the township. I don't even know if I'd ask that question.
Right, I agree.
And I wouldn't ask the next one either.
Yeah, the next question is should they contract out for police protection?
No.
We could probably pull these two and we'll let the police department come up with questions they'd like to ask the public.
Yeah.
I would agree. Anything police or fire related, let them ask the questions.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then Brimfield Township should explore the possibilities to incorporate, which I think is okay.
We've tried that.
I would, Nick, you might want to intervene on this one. You might want to question to see if residents would be interested in going to home rule.
We've had a lot of meetings about that.
Is Nick there still?
I don't know, how could you do it with, with the 2 JEDs
Yeah.
that we have? What's left?
Yeah, no, I would recommend striking that question because we're most likely going to have a question from the board on the survey that's going to talk about limited home rule and interest behind limited home rule.
Right.
Okay. I also recommended striking 41, which is talking about annexation, because I think with the JED place, there is no annexation anymore.
Right.
So just in
Correct.
strike 1. 42, I had a question mark. It's okay, but I'm not sure how needed it is. That's the public transportation should be made available to the residents of Brimfield. So there is some public transportation, but
Yeah, we already, with part, I don't think we would be able to provide it as a township service.
right.
Yeah, I think it's more of a county service, so there's not much
Yes.
that we could do
Right.
as the board to improve that.
Okay, and then I had the next 2 I had striking out too was mineral extraction and gravel mining, and I also was recommending striking out oil and gas. Oil and gas, I mean, they've taken that zoning power away from the township as it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have a problem or an issue with sand and gravel mining in Brimfield. Some of their townships do, but I don't know if Brimfield does.
We
Is it
did at
possible?
one time.
Yeah, we can't prohibit sand and gravel mining, can we?
No, I don't think
No, the
But
law has
it
changed.
might be able to for health and safety reasons. But we can leave it in, or we can.
I
Sand
think
and
We went through that once before, and I think we
It was on
found
the-
out that we.
I think,
couldn't prevent-
yeah, I think you got everything covered in Ohio Revised Code now with that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So I'm taking out probably almost half of these, and I'm restructuring a few of them to make them a multiple choice question. I did have these 3 questions at the end. Well, they're really 2 questions. Like, what are your, this is they write it in. What are your 3 to 5 favorite things about Brimfield, and what are the things the township could do better, or what they'd like to see happen in the township? And if they want more email updates or information, just give us their email address if they so choose. But those are the last 3 things. I think what Nick said is we might have a lot more open-ended questions coming from the trustees and the departments.
Yeah, Todd, because of COVID, as we talked about, we're not going to be able to do a lot of those public hearings to do the SWOT analysis. So I picture part of this survey asking some of those SWOT questions so we can gather that data as we make some departmental decisions for the 5-year plan.
Yeah, I like the last 3 questions. I think input from the citizens is very important.
Okay. So what I'll do is I will condense this down and provide that back to you guys, and also to Nick. Me and Nick can talk more about this, and then figure out how we're going to get new questions added to how the new questions are going to get added in. What I was thinking is we could, because you only saw it today, we could give you a chance to think about it, and then at the next meeting we could approve at least the zoning half of the questions at the next zoning commission meeting in August, and then get that out immediately on I don't know if you guys have Facebook or not at the township, but we could at least get it out on the township website. Try to get some information out on in the newspaper. Not everybody reads newspaper, so it makes me nervous. So if you guys do have Facebook, and I can give you links to it, if you could share it, that would be a great way to help get it out. We can make hard copies and leave those at the fire department. Again, I don't know with COVID how that's going to work, but however,
is part of this program that we're doing, are we going to do a hard mailer, like a postcard as part of this? Because we've already created a mailer list that we did as part of the Nixle alert system to advertise about that system. I don't know if we want to do a hard mailer on this.
We could do a postcard concept, and basically, but we would want to direct them to, let's say, the township's website. To just go to the township's website, click on the link, and then they can take it that way.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Some type of advertisement that way to get them to the survey, because we put all the addresses to get the Nixle alert system out. So now we have a clean set that we could just run right through Vistaprint, and that's how we did our last postcards. And basically, you just upload your drawings, and then they take that CSV file and send it.
Okay.
So you're saying you'd like to do a hard copy sending, a hard copy mailing?
I think it's
A hard copy of a postcard directing them to get online to complete the survey, just so that we make sure we capture it. Because not everybody looks at our Facebook page and everybody hops on our website. But I want to try to capture as much data and information as possibly can be done with this survey.
Well, like there's a number of older people who do not do Facebook or anything else and would not have access to. And a lot of them don't even have computers.
Yeah, be careful with that older people. I don't do Facebook.
But we could also, Todd, and I'd have to work through logistics on this, obviously, because of COVID again. But we could have with Rochelle at the front desk paper copies for those that don't utilize social media or the computer or are not comfortable. They just don't have access to a computer. I don't want to leave anybody out just because they don't have access. So we could potentially have a hard copy where they could, the mailer would say, go to our website, but if you're not able to do that, you can always stop by the town hall and access that information. And then we would just seal them.
Yeah, we could do a notification in the newspaper for that then.
We could still do it. We could still do a press release and or maybe even get like press coverage on it saying, hey, we're embarking in the first stages of the township's comprehensive plan, and we've got this survey out there, blah blah blah. We can talk about some of the interesting things we're going to do. We can talk about the fact that we're going to try to make this interactive mapping, and that it's going to be, when it's done, the public will have a great deal of access to it than they otherwise would, and also to maybe mention the 5-year, striving to get a 5-year focus on this plan, so that we actually have realistic goals and accomplishments that we can show and present to the public. So I think we could do an article like.
That's a great idea,
Yeah.
Todd. I'm just saying, as long as we can figure a way to notify,
Get it out.
potentially notify all of our residents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That'd be
when we
fun.
looked at another survey for something else, we had a discussion with a research firm, and basically, long and short of the story is if we have about 3,000 mailers that would go out here to be scientifically valid, we need to have 3,000 mailers, and we need about 15% to return. So if we get a 15% return on that 3,000, it's scientifically valid study at that point to give us some good numbers to work from.
I know we ran into that same problem with the Historical Society, and then we put everything out on Facebook and through email, and then we had bunches of people. Well, I never heard about it. I didn't see it. I don't have email and Facebook or anything, so I just like to try to get make sure that everybody has access, one way or the other.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
I've got 2 questions.
Sure.
Are you allowed? I mean, can we put on the survey to ask if people are property owners?
Yeah.
I mean, who does the survey actually go to?
The survey. Well.
So if we were to mail them, it is mailed to the name of the property owner, but it goes to the address here in Brimfield. So let's say that Johnny owns a rental property. It's going to go to Johnny at his rental property, which means either A, the rental person may answer that, or they may hand it off to Johnny. We can't control that, but that was the best data that we could utilize for notification of the Nixle system. Because in reality, we wanted every person living in a house in Brimfield getting that mailer. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On this survey, somewhere in there up towards the beginning, could we not put, are you a homeowner, renter,
Landlord?
landlord, whatever?
Right. Well, we could easily put in there something. Are you a property owner or renter? And then we also
Right.
if people are just business owners or business renters, leasers, I guess.
Hey, Todd.
Well, we could
Pat-
say, are you a business owner? You know, could you be are you the business owner, renter, or do you own the property?
Okay.
Hey, Todd, Pat
Yeah.
Blair. The version of the survey I'm looking at, that is question number 5.
With your property owner?
Yeah. What the best describes your status? Do you own farmland? You know, it's concerning farms, but you could just shorten it to property owner.
Well, it's interesting. There must have been 2 different surveys floating around. You got one and I got another, but that's okay.
If I get the right one over to me, I'll be happy.
There was a 2002-3 one, and then I believe there was a 98 one.
Okay.
It's not the one I'm looking at. It's not dated, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's all right. Well, I'll add that one change. I thought there was another change coming though too. Was there a second question?
Well, the other thing was, is kind of concerning the same thing is like if it's online, there's probably there's no way you can stop somebody from filling it out.
Right.
But it would be good to have a qualifying question to find out who's actually filling the survey out. So it was pretty much the same thing.
Like we did an income survey in Manaway and in Franklin townships, and we required an address, right? And that was a way to because we're doing income based on household size, so that worked for that. This one, you could have a husband and a wife with different opinions, or you could have husband, wife, and kids who want to participate. This survey will only work one time off an IP address. Unless you go and alter your cookies,
Okay.
But it should respond one time per IP address. That's how it functions. The reason why I know about the cookie thing is because somebody from Franklin Township said, "Oh, they could do households for other people," and I'm like, "No, no, that's not how we want that done." So anyway, and I'm not super worried about people, filling the box, so to stacking the box, if you will, with their answers, because there's really no point in that. Really, I don't think there's anything in here that's going to benefit anybody directly by putting in multiple responses, So, and I'm hoping that typically people from outside don't usually want to fill out a survey for somebody else either. So I think we should be okay. If we didn't have the COVID thing, we were talking about like at the Summerfest or Brimfest, the Brimfest, setting up a little booth there, and because a lot of people who typically would never come to a public hearing would come to that with their families, and you could pass out a really short survey to them and get some feedback from them and provide information on what we're doing. It's unfortunate that we are in the situation with the health issue. So.
Well, we'll just schedule a protest, and then we can hand them out at the protest.
Yeah.
But we can tear down the Pioneer statue. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, no, not him.
I'm not endorsing that.
One-armed one?
The one-armed bandit.
So anyway, I think we're all pretty good on this, Todd.
Okay.
Yeah, looks good.
You think you could get this back to us in August?
Well, what we did here tonight, I can get back to you tomorrow, but Nick and the trustees and the department heads want to, I think he wants to.
Let's comment on it for August, and then we can maybe get it out in September or October.
Well, I would like to get it out in August.
Okay.
We'd like to start our goal setting in September. That first meeting about goal setting and stuff. So I'd like to have some feedback from the public for that part of the meeting. Obviously we can push it back a month or so too, if that's what the trustees are okay with. I just know that they were wanting us to try to get this done in a year. So.
Okay. Is that what you're saying, Nick?
We're pushing hard. COVID, it does throw a little curve into things. I get that, but as a board, we're definitely pushing hard for the end of December because the 5 year January 1. So this is really prepping us going into January 1 with our budget and what we're going to do as department heads and where each department's going is getting built out of this. So this piece that you're working on is part of a very larger puzzle that we're putting together. Prior to this, we've never had a strategic plan. It's just been year to year. We've operated and did what we thought was best. And the board finally came to the consensus that, yes, we need a written 5-year plan with our goals, accountability because of the growth, and just, financial sense too. Now that we've gotten to a point that we're financially stable, unless COVID obviously could be a big hindrance, we're watching that closely right now, but we're more financially stable than we've ever been, which is good. Departments are finally, able to have that carryover, so now we need to start that planning. And so the survey and the work that you're doing here is going to help us develop that 5-year plan. The department heads have done a SWOT analysis. We're going to do it as a large group now, and then we're going to bring the citizens in and try to get some of that SWOT analysis. Unfortunately, we can't bring them into the town hall because we don't have enough room to do that to social distance. So this questionnaire becomes really important for us too, so that we can really take what we perceive as stakeholders is much different than what you perceive as stakeholders. So we want to hear what the whole community has to say and then develop that action plan going forward. And that helps ensure continuation of services. If there's ever change in leadership, department heads, elected officials, whatever that is, we have a written plan that keeps things guiding forward and helps everyone continue to operate fluidly. So you guys are part of a bigger plan and we appreciate it. So December, short answer, yeah, December is really important for us.
So we'd like to have everything wrapped up by the end of the year, right?
Data collection at least, so that we can execute the 5-year plan. This land use plan may take you another month or two. Beyond that, that is what it is at that point, and I think we'd be okay with that as a board. But we have to have that executable plan come January 1 is really our hard deadline.
I think we can probably work that. Okay, very good.
Sounds good.
Does anybody else have a question?
Nope.
Debbie?
Nope. No question.
Okay. Anybody else? Tom?
I'm good.
Tom Johnson?
I'm good.
Okay. Pat?
Well, hold on, I get on the poll. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, I keep losing your photos. Okay. Let's go ahead and, I don't think we need any motions or anything like that to do that. Okay. Colette, do you have any questions?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. How about you, Seth?
Oh, they're good.
Okay. I guess that wraps that much of the part of the meeting up.
Does Todd have any questions?
Oh, I'm good for now. I guess for a few of these other things that are coming up, just since I'm already here.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Todd.
Yeah, thanks, Todd.
Okay, update resolutions. Mike, you want to join in on us on that?
Yeah, so there's a section in the code, it's section 400.10B47. And the section is actually section H. The fire chief shall provide a letter that states fire apparatus and emergency vehicles can have safe access and that the access can be reasonably constructed and maintained a portion of the lot which is suitable for dwelling. So,
okay.
I'll leave a message for whoever that. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, this section here, the fire chief asked me to remove this section. We did take it to regional planning because he's saying that on a residential dwelling, the fire code does not have jurisdiction. So if it's a commercial site, he has jurisdiction. Residentially, he doesn't. We're maintaining the whole section of the flag-shaped lot. Everything else will still apply. As far as the minimum 60 foot, on the frontage at the right of way, the portion, the flag portion, as well as taking it to region or to the BZA for a conditional use. So those will still all apply. It would just be getting rid of the letter signed off by the fire chief.
Okay.
So
The
we
reason,
regional and regional has agreed and voted on that, and I just need your blessing and a vote for this. It would actually be section 400.10 B47, and then it would be letter H.
400.1?
400.10 B47,
Okay.
and then it would be H under the section 47. So all it
Yeah,
is, the letter, the fire chief providing the letter.
okay, yeah, we did this, that was the only flag that we had at the time, and it was at the request of the fire chief at that time. And I think that was just something that Dick had added into it.
Okay, now the fire chief's asking to take it out, so.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay,
You need a vote on it though, right?
I need a vote, and if we could take that, recommend it to take it to the trustees to remove this section.
Okay. Do I have a motion to remove 400.10 dash
10
B47?
B.
B47H, and just the section H.
I motion that we remove it.
I'll second.
Interesting.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. Send that off to the trustees then, their next meeting. Okay, John? Or Mike?
Yes, so the next couple sections that you're gonna see is we are trying to eliminate many cases that go to the BZA as possible. What we're seeing, and what I've had conversations with Todd, part of this comprehensive land use plan, we're looking at our code, and we're also looking at our mapping. But one of the concerns in all my years and all my experience, when you start having too many BZA cases, then there's certain sections of the code that need to be revised. If we have everybody going for accessory structures, which we do have a lot right now, currently we're at 15 feet from the principal building, which I have no problem with 15 feet from the principal building. However, if you go on further, 15-foot side setbacks, and then the rear setbacks are either 20 or 25. I'm looking at going to either a 5-foot from the setback lines or your property lines, or 10-foot. And I'd like the board to discuss that. And we don't have to vote on it today, but I'd like you guys to consider this one, as well as swimming pools are in the same boat. We're at a 15-foot to any property line or easement. And then we have, a lot of people coming in because they're in a smaller, they might be in Beechcrest, they might be in one of the PRDs. And they come in there, well, there's no way I could fit a pool in. If I go 15 foot in all directions, I can't get a pool, so they come in for variances on this, and it's very costly for, now with COVID going on, a lot of people are applying for pools. And as well as they're cleaning up and putting accessory structures, but then they call us and we're like, well, it's $200 for each variance, and they got 2 variances, it's $400, so it gets to be pretty costly. And
so what is your thought on pools? 5 feet?
I think 5 feet from property lines is significant. I think you just need that maintenance. It's required to have a fence anyway.
Right.
So if you're putting a fence up, and then the pool, I think that safeguards it.
Okay. Any comment from anybody on that?
Well, the lots are a lot smaller than when the code was written.
Yes.
The lots are getting smaller, and I've talked to several people myself on the pool and the building offsets. And then when they get smacked with $400 to apply for zoning variance that their neighbors have already agreed to, it's like a slap in the face.
Yeah, we're just trying to streamline it. I agree, Pat.
Yes, that would sound, 5 foot would sound good to me. Any other comments?
Were you looking to change from the principal building, reduce that number
No.
from 15 or just the
No.
10 feet?
No, I think the principal building 15 makes sense. I mean, you wouldn't want the shed that close to the house in case you're keeping combustibles.
Right.
But the property lines itself, I have no problem with going 5 or 10 feet from the property lines. Whatever the board would like.
If
but
you're looking at a 5 feet, you have two residents abutting one another, that still would give you 10 feet
Correct.
from each property line.
And potentially, even more for the principal building. If you're 15 foot from your building, you're going to be a lot further from the next house too. So.
I think we talked about this some time ago. I think the fire chief was looking to change that number. I think there was some concern in one of the subdivisions, and I mentioned it to him, and he really didn't express, I don't want to speak for him, but in the conversation, he didn't seem to express much concern about the distance from the property line.
Right. I think, there is a section in the building code that requires that if it's within, and I believe that this is 3 feet to another building, then it's got to be, drywalled and put a 1 hour fire separation on it. So the building can actually dictate if there's something closer. We're only allowing 2 accessory structures and outbuildings on a lot anyway. And I think if you're going 5 foot from the property lines, if they do put them close together, we still have that section of 10 feet from all other inhabitable buildings. So you'd still need, if you had 2 for, let's say, you'd still have to be separated by 10 feet.
Okay, so if we go with this, if we approve this,
Yeah.
does it still have to go back to regional, or can we go?
So this one would be a recommendation to go to regional, then come back to see if they approve it, and then come back to you, and then it would go to the trustees.
Okay. Everybody in on this? Everybody okay?
Yeah, I make a motion that we cut the 5 foot setback from the side and rear lines and run it over to regional and see what they come back with.
That's on both the swimming pools and the auxiliary buildings.
Correct.
Okay. Anybody else?
So let me just ask, maybe I missed it. On auxiliary buildings, are we talking about powered auxiliary buildings?
We don't specify, because once it's into the power, then it goes to the building. So building department would regulate that. We don't want to get into the building issues. So let's first say, Tom, that they do put power in the building, as a builder as well, once they put that electrical in, it's got to be drywalled, and then it's got to have protections. It's got to be certain heights. You can't, things that if it's on the outside, obviously it's got to be in conduit. So we'd let the building code take jurisdiction over that.
Yeah, I guess I'm not objecting to what we're doing. I'm just bringing up that the stuff that gets done, people will go and get the zoning permit to put a building up and never go to the building department, and then they're running power and they're not running it to code or in a safe way.
Well, here's what's happening now. The new building official is requesting all permits from us. So we send him all our zoning, and then if they don't have a building, he goes back and cites them.
Okay.
And vice versa. So we have a check and balance system going now, where if they go for a building, if they don't see the zoning, it gets bounced back to me. So
okay.
Yeah. We got
Okay.
I have a question regarding the swimming pool. Does the deck and surrounding stairs constitute part of the swimming pool, or is it just the pool itself? So my concern is if you put a pool within 5 feet and you decide to put a deck up to your property line, to
Yeah.
the swimming pool, does that constitute part of the swimming pool?
So no, the deck isn't part of the swimming pool, but if you look under the accessory buildings, it also says accessory buildings and structures. We would.
Okay,
consider
so that would fall in that category then. Okay, thank you for the clarification. All right.
Okay, do I have a second on the Pat's motion?
I'll second.
All those in favor signify, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you.
So I will go on to the next one. It's discussing changes in the zoning resolution. This one, we're going to provide some information. This is what you have in front of you is lots of less than 3 acres with the household pets. Then you have lots 3 acres up to 5 acres shall comply with the ORC. And then there's lots 3 acres to 5 are not subject to agricultural exemptions. You know, I had a conversation with Todd and he sent me a boatload of information on this today. So I would like to go ahead and Todd, if you want to email everybody on that tonight, you can. If not, I will certainly do that. But I'd like everybody to take a look into the agricultural exemptions. And I'd like to maybe streamline this a little bit better. We have a lot of calls in here with people that, you know, they want, with this whole COVID thing, they want either growing stuff or they want farm animals. So I want to make sure that we are up to date with the Ohio Revised Code as well as what the other townships are doing in this. There's another thing that will come the next meeting also, and that's for we have a lot of people wanting to turn their barns into wedding reception halls. Todd's looking at it from a county level, and then I'm working with him to look at some kind of regulations on that as well. But this one is just for your, you know, for your information. We'll email you, either Todd or myself, all the information that we have on this agriculture. And then the next meeting, I'd like to narrow it to what we'd like to do.
Okay, thank
Sending
you.
I'm sending the information out that Mike asked me to send out right now.
Okay. So we're not going to take any action on this, right, Mike?
I think that, you know, with all the information that he just gave us on it, and he just recently did this for some other townships, I'd like to read into it and not be hasty on this. I'd like to make a good decision on this one.
So you're just going to send it out to us?
Yeah, he's sending it now, and I'd like you guys to read through it. Give me your feedback. Feel free to email me any of your comments and what you think is a good idea with that. I mean,
Mike, this is Pat. Are you saying you're getting lots of calls about agricultural use on less than 5 acres?
Oh, for sure, yes. And Jenny gets them more than I do. I mean, she weeds through them before I get them, but yeah, she's getting at least a couple of calls a day on can they have sheep? Can they have chickens? Can they have something? It's every day.
So is it mostly like 3 acres or less, the kind of calls that Jendy's getting?
We're getting, most of them are less than 3 acres, yes.
Less than 3, okay.
All right, I see a movement for folks to have chickens on their property. It seems like that's something that a lot of folks are getting involved in, having chickens and laying of eggs. Yeah.
A lot of expensive.
Yeah.
What about bees? Are people asking about bees? We got a lot of people, seems like they're, whatever you call it, growing bees or harvesting.
I've had 2 calls.
For honey.
Yeah.
I've had 2
It's
calls.
popular now, it seems like.
Since COVID, actually. I think I was working from home when I got the first one, and I recently got another call about it as well.
Yeah.
And I didn't have an answer. But I'm looking into it. But
I don't know of too many beekeepers here in Brimfield. I
No.
do know a couple, but other than that, it's not a thriving business right now. Okay, does anybody have anything else? Mike, you got anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you for your time tonight, and I hope everybody
All
stays
right.
safe. Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. We'll keep in touch. The next meeting is when? Jenny, when did you have?
August 13th. She has
On
August
13th
13th.
of August.
August 13th.
Okay. Everybody catch that? Oh,
Sandy has it on the agenda.
Okay, you'll email us anyway. Okay. Anybody else have anything? Anything?
I have a
good of the
question
order?
for Jindy.
Yes, Tom.
You sent out an email regarding some of the past minutes. Do we need to review those and be prepared to approve those?
Okay, so what I've done is I've gotten feedback. I need you to email me with if you have signed off on them, basically. Just email me once we get through this COVID and we're meeting with, I'm keeping all the emails, I'm attaching them to the minutes next month. Okay, on the responses I get back from you, on the ones I sent you, we'll approve them. You guys can approve them on, however you want to do it, but virtually you can approve them verbally, virtually next month.
Okay, then you're going to put that on, that'll be on the agenda then for an item, agenda item then?
Yes,
Okay,
I
very
wanted
good.
to wait until you guys got to look at all of them and got to review them. Send me an email with your approval, and then I'll get those attached to the next month.
After this, we should be up to date. So for going forward now, every meeting, you'll see the minutes from the last meeting come to you. So there's that gap, from 3 years ago that we had to fill. So we ended up finally getting that gap filled with pulling notes together and everything else we could possibly find. But then going forward, everything should be up to date now.
Okay, Mike.
Good.
Mike, is there anything going on Talmadge Road down at the down by Sunnybrook where they just tore those houses down?
I mean, we have demo permits down there. There's nothing planned as of yet, but we have another demo permit just recently I signed for that area. But we do have a King's Car Wash coming in down by Arby's. That's on a proposal. I have sheets coming, but I can't disclose the information on what site they have picked yet. And then we have a commercial building done on Highway View. We have the nursing home facility on 43 in Malloy who asked for extension. And then we have the development across from Brimfield Steakhouse going. That went forward. Redwood just got approved again for that. And then we've got a couple subdivisions that Walden Point. And
Who is doing that one? Across from Brimfield Steakhouse.
Mike Wino.
Wino's, okay.
Yep.
And the one at Malloy is Malloy and 43.
The one on Malloy at Cranberry Creek. That is Mike Wino as well. But you have another one, Walden Point, which is off the same area. They're going into their next phase. They were denied. They were granted the conditional use, but they weren't granted the variance between the houses. The PRDs.
What about Malloy and 43?
Oh, you're talking about, yeah, that is, so there's an attorney out of Pepper Pike handling that, David Mitchell, and Skipper Group owns the property right now.
Right.
But Heritage of Brimfield will be the name of it, but the attorney is handling it for them right now. They're just asking for extension.
They pulled no permits yet.
Yeah, their architecture firm had to close down for a while, so they're a little bit behind. They were supposed to be started by July, but they're about 3 months behind. So
Brimfield Steakhouse is closed now?
For renovation.
Just because of COVID or permanently?
A lot of people ask that. They're actually putting in bathrooms and renovating.
Okay. Okay. All righty.
And then if you get a chance, stop down at Meyer. It's a fantastic store.
Salt was
Are they open now?
They are open.
Yep,
Today
they
is-
open today.
Yes.
today
Oh,
is-
cool. I was gonna ask you.
They had both the sheriff and Kent police cars down there doing a little traffic directing stuff.
Yeah, I went down there twice. The parking lot was filled both times. I go, wow, that's so.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait a
Cool.
couple of days.
Yeah.
Okay,
What are their hours? Do you know, Mike?
Well, they
what are
open
their-
Yeah,
Are
they
they
open
open?
at 6 in the morning. Yeah, they do open at 6. They open today at 6. So
Yeah, they're supposed to. The hours are supposed to be 6 a.m. to midnight. So they're gonna run the late hour shift there too.
That's great.
So 6 a.m. till midnight.
And
Okay.
eventually it'll be 24 hours, I
I am
understand.
telling you, Nick and I were there yesterday for the pre-opening, and they had Nick. You can tell them they have everything. They're fully stocked. I mean, there's just so many things from TVs to clothing to shoes to food. It's just a wonderful store. So.
Yeah, I've
And
been
the
in-
inside turned out really well. They put a lot of effort, and I will say they've been great community partners. If you haven't heard yet, they gave a $6,000 donation to the soccer fields that we're putting in. So there's going to be brand new soccer fields coming in here in Brimfield by the elementary school. So they paid for the goals for those, and then we had a second donation from another company that's going to do the excavating. But Myers has been more than willing to help out with whatever we can do. They've been great community partners so far, and I'm really excited to see what they can do with us in the community.
So we're not going to use that property for a new fire station, I take it then?
No, you might have seen the initial information was put out at our last trustee meeting. The initial design idea is out for the fire station. We're still waiting on bond counsel to get the final figures for us of what that will look like. But the idea is to maintain on the current property. So you have the existing 3 fire bays. The idea is to add 3 new fire bays and then a fire station on that side. Take the old side of fire and admin, renovate that for just administrative offices. Because currently we've outgrown administrative offices, so we're actually renting administrative offices at this point.
Right.
So financially, it makes more sense to bring everybody back in and revamp that. The cost point was much better to do that. And, the more we thought about it, putting that fire station right next to the school with traffic could cause some problems. So we're going to turn that into, the proposal is 2 soccer fields, a 1/4-mile walking track around the fields, a pavilion, playground equipment, and then parking there too. So that'll be an addition for the community.
Okay, anybody else have anything?
Nope.
I have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. This is Debbie.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, please signify.
Aye.
Aye.
All righty.
Everyone stay cool.
Thank everybody for tonight.